reported that this was a preferred destination for you. What kind of made Arizona appealing to you?
I mean, it's an exciting place as an organization. I've had a chance to meet Mr. Bidwell, the owner, Monty, and Coach Gannon today, and just the positive energy, the positive sort of atmosphere here. And, I feel it's a team on an upward trajectory. And, I was fortunate to be a part of something like that in Cincinnati, and it's just a lot of fun. And, not to mention the city and all the amenities like that. We live in San Diego in the off season, so quick flight, and I really enjoy my brief time here so far.
Jonah, had you heard some of those things just about what this team was building and the kind of the culture that they were trying to establish last year?
Absolutely. I think that sort of that sort of like reverberates throughout the league. That sort of exciting new culture, and we had an opportunity to play out here last year when I was still with the Bengals, and the stadium's great, the fans were loud, and it's just like I kind of took some notes in my head. I was like, if the opportunity ever arises, I'd love to be out here, and I was very fortunate the opportunity did arise, so I'm really excited to be here.
Did you need to change the scenery at all?
I think so. I think that it's that's the longest I'd ever been anywhere. It was 5 years. I was only in college for 3 and went to a couple different high schools. So, I have a lot of love for Cincinnati, and, met a lot of, great people there. But I'm excited for the fresh start, and I'm really excited that's here.
You had a great season at right tackle, even though you might have been against it. Looking back at how it transpired, did it happen for a good reason, or do you still wish you would have been able to stay where you were?
I think, I wanted to approach that situation positively, and, that's what I did was, let's do the best that I can wherever I am, and that was at right tackle last year, and, I think it worked out well for me. I enjoyed playing right tackle, and I think I had a good year, and I think that versatility is nothing but positives for me, in my career and what I can bring to the team.
You mentioned that this is a team that's on that upwards trajectory. What do you think you could bring? I mean, obviously on the field there will be stuff that you could bring, but what do you think you could bring to the locker room that continues to help that rise?
I think that I'm, I don't want to pat myself on the back, but I feel that I'm a good locker room guy. I'm somebody who's always going to show up early, get extra work in, and try to bring up the guys around me. I try to be the same guy every day. I'm not gonna come in a bad mood or anything like that. It's always gonna be the same, and I like to think that that's a positive contribution to a locker room.
Yes. I'm not sure if you've seen, but there's been a lot of talk about what side of the offensive line you're going to be playing on. Is that something the organization has spoken to you about?
Honestly, it's not so much about that. It's more like I know what I'm bringing to this team, and it's great tackle play, and that's what I want to do. Wherever the coaches want to put me, wherever they decide to put me, that's what I'm going to do. I've played significant snaps at both positions, and I think I can positively contribute to the team either way.
And then regardless of whatever side, Paris Johnson's going to be on the opposite side of you. What have been your early impressions of him?
I mean, I've heard only positive things about him, how mature he is, and, obviously just seeing him in the draft, phenomenal athlete, and, watching his tape last year, he's a great player, and I'm excited to, to book in the line with him.
Was there a big change in going from left to right from a playing standpoint? An old standpoint even?
It took some getting used to. I was recovering from a surgery too, so even when I wasn't able to take sets and do drills, I would just get in my stance and sit there and just feel it and kind of feel the proprioceptive, like how my body is in the ground in that position. And at the end of the day, it's just football. It's just Oline. So it's it's all the same stuff. It just feels a little bit different to do it. But I mean, honestly, by second week of training camp, it felt as good as left tackle ever did, and it felt good the whole season there.
Leading a O-line room, I think I heard a quote from you where you said you want 5 bodyguards all in sync up front. I mean, how do you approach when you're kind of the older guy in the offensive line room?
I mean, I like to lead by example. I build good relationships with guys, but I'm not a rah-rah guy. I'm not gonna yell in someone's face or anything like that, but I'm going to set a good example of how you approach drills, how you approach film, how you approach the lifting in the weight room and all that stuff. And, I think that that's one big thing about O-line is it's kind of a chain, and you can't have any weak links physically, mentally, anything like that. So, I like to think I'm a positive part of that and can influence everyone to work together well. And the O-line doesn't work unless everyone's, doing a good job. So that's a unique thing about the position.
What are your thoughts on playing with Kyler Murray and protecting for Kyler Murray and those kind of things?
I'm excited about it. I was just saying that I've been watching him since he was at Allen. Just being a high school football player, everyone knew his name because of the crazy stuff he was doing there. And, he continued to do it in college and has done in the NFL. And, I had a chance to meet him. He was actually working out and talk to him a little bit. So, I think it's going to be exciting. He's an electric playmaker. And, there's only so many guys like that in the NFL. And so it's exciting to be at a team that has one of them.
You date back to your college days to kind of think about how it was to protect for a more mobile quarterback. No disrespect to Joe, but Kyler gets on the move quite a bit.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest thing with that is that the play isn't over until, a couple seconds after the whistle is the way you got to think about it, But that's exciting. That's where big plays come from. And in the NFL, everyone's so good and everyone's so evenly matched that you need a guy who can kind of, just make things happen outside the pocket, things like that, hit a receiver downfield, and that's just exciting as an O-line to be blocking your guy. You don't know what's going on back there. And then, maybe you hear the crowd go crazy and you look down and the ball's flying, and that's the fun part of being an O-line is you guys get to watch everything. We don't see it, but we get to see the after effect. And, he's certainly a guy who can do that.
When was the Cardinals come into your range of vision here, and were there a lot of other teams showing you interest?
There were some other teams, yeah. I think that the free agency process is so crazy because it's a lot of questions, all this stuff, but then everything happens quick. And so when my agent let me know that the Cardinals were interested, I was like, they're my number one. Let's get this done. The things I talked about before, the organization, the things I'd seen from the outside, and then today I've had the opportunity to see it from the inside, and meet Michael and meet Monty and all these guys and Coach Gannon. I had a great conversation with him, and it's an exciting thing to be a part of this because I feel like it's a new coaching staff, young, and we're sort of building from the ground up, and I'm excited to be a part of that. And then all that's just on top of being able to live in a great city with great fans.
What was your first impression of JG? He's got a high energy, doesn't he?
High energy, positive, but you it's not fake. There's some guys who kind of fake the energy. I do not believe he's faking the energy. I think it's 100% real. And, also we had a good conversation about family. I have a daughter and my fiance over here, and that's something that was important for him too. So I think we connected on a lot of levels, and I think we had a good conversation.
He's often talked about how hard it is to play off. He has a lot of respect for offensive linemen. Could you kind of gauge that when you were talking to him?
Yeah, well, I think he's right, and I appreciate that evaluation. It's a really tough position, but it's also a really rewarding position, and I think that's kind of the give and take of it. Is a lot of it's hard, and a lot of it's kind of dirty and sloppy, and you don't see the immediate rewards, but then you build up over time that sort of respect among the league, respect among your peers, and then you just build great relationships in the O-line room. There's nothing like it. Those five guys on the field, and then the other guys in the room too. It's just we're all in it together, and you feel that in the O-line room more than any other position, I think.
Have the guys welcomed you yet? It's kind of a tight-knit group that you're coming to with Yelda and Will and Paris. Have you heard from those guys yet?
A little bit. This has all happened really fast. And I actually heard from Beecham too, who, I think is a pro's pro, and I've heard great things about him from, other players that have played with him and coaches and things like that. So, I'm excited to join that group and, be a positive contributor to it.
Are there any guys in the locker room already you have a relationship with previously?
Not a ton, but, I've been with Mac Wilson for all my time at Bama, so so we have that connection going in. But I'm I've been around enough guys in the NFL to know that it's like this locker room. It can be people from all over that you've never met before, and you spend 2 weeks together, and everyone's brothers. So I'm excited for that here.
What does this offense look like with Marvin Harrison Jr. playing wideout?
I mean, I don't I don't want to look too far into the future here. I don't know what the plan is for the team, but obviously his reputation precedes him. I know he's a great player.
What can you tell us about Mac? He seems like he's a pretty big personality.
He is, yeah. I mean, he's a great locker room guy. He was kind of one of the leaders and the heartbeats of the Alabama defense. And I was telling someone yesterday, I was like, have you seen his hit on the Texas A&M returner? it was like this. It was a big deal in 2016 when we were both freshmen. Came in there, he came down on a kick return, and it was a hit heard around the world. And so I was like, that was one of my early impressions of him as a player. Actually seeing him on the field, and I was like, this guy can play. He's a missile, and so I'm excited to have him here.
Jonah, what interests you off the field? What's some things that you like to do away from football?
Like I said earlier, I'm a dad. I spend a lot of time on the floor with my daughter, and that's some of my favorite stuff. I like to cook a lot too. Restaurants, we're big into that. So yeah, food and my daughter probably are the two. Not in that order. Daughter and then food. Yeah,
A lot of good food here.
Yeah, that's another plus. It seems like a great food scene.